Alright, this is Sparks Pre-Calculus and we are on day 20. I'm going to deviate a little bit from the guided notes just initially, just to kind of give you some background. And we're going to talk about the long division of polynomials, so you're going to need some extra paper for this lesson. So the first thing, we have to go back into the reaches of our mind, back before we got to use a calculator to do horrible problems that look like this. So we're going to go through this process and then we're going to do the same thing with polynomials. So first we have to figure out how many times does 11 go into 12. It doesn't go in perfectly, but it does go in one time. Then we would multiply. We're going to do 1 times 11, and we write it right there. And then we subtract. 12 minus 11, 1. Then we're going to bring down this number 3 and repeat the process. 11 goes into 13 one time. 1 times 11 is 11, and then we subtract. We get 2. Then we bring down the 7. 11 times what will get us close to 27? That would be 2. 2 times 11 is 22. Then we subtract. Then we bring down. 11 times 2. Oops, I forgot to write the 2. 11 times what is going to be 52? Well, 11 times 5 is 55. That's too big, so it must be 4. 4 times 11 is 44. Then we subtract. 52 minus 44 is 6, 7, 8. This is our remainder. Now, you probably remember having to do decimals and you would add zeros here until you got enough decimals. You probably also remember having to write R8. The way we're going to write it in this class is going to be that the answer will be 1,124, and we're not going to do R8. We're not going to do decimals. We're going to write it as a fraction. We're going to do 8 over 11. This would be our answer. So we're going to do the same thing with polynomials. So first step, figure. Second step, multiply. Third step, we subtract. Fourth step, that's when we bring down. Fifth step, start over. So now let's do the same thing. So we want to know negative 2x squared plus 2x minus 3x cubed plus 1 divided by x minus 1. We're going to want to know what that is. Well, just like we had over here, we're going to set it up as x minus 1 goes into, and then when we write this polynomial, we need to make sure we write it in descending order. So we're going to start with the third power. Negative 3x to the third minus 2x squared plus 2x plus 1. So now we follow our steps. Figure. First we have to figure out how many times x will go into negative 3x cubed. So we think about it as x times what is negative 3x cubed. That's going to be negative 3x squared. And I wrote the squared over the squares, kind of just keeping that kind of like a placeholder. I want to have that in the correct place. So what we have to do now, just like we did with the 11, we're going to multiply. And I do a little side note over here so you can see it. We have to multiply negative 3x squared times the whole thing, which is x minus 1. So we use distributive property. We get negative 3x cubed and plus 3x squared. Just like we did with the 11, we multiplied it by 1 and we wrote it directly underneath the 12. We're going to do that here. Negative 3x cubed minus 3x, nope, it was plus 3x squared. Now we have to subtract it. And when we subtract polynomials, we have to subtract the whole thing. So we have to distribute this negative. So we distribute the negative in here and makes this a plus, and we distribute it here and makes that a minus. So we have negative 3x cubed plus 3x cubed, that's 0. Then we have negative 2x squared minus 3x squared. That's going to be negative 5x squared. That was subtract. Now we have to bring down. So we're going to bring down the next term, and the next term is positive 2x. Now we start over. We have to figure out x times what gives us negative 5x squared? That's going to be negative 5x. So we have to multiply negative 5x all the way through. Negative 5x times x minus 1. Distribute, we get negative 5x squared plus 5x. Just like we did with the numbers, we're going to write it directly underneath. Go away. Negative 5x squared plus 5x. And then we have to subtract it. Pretty handy, I have a red pen. So when we subtract, everything's sign changes. So we have negative 5x squared plus 5x squared. That's going to be 0. And then we have 2x minus 5x, and that is negative 3x. Then we bring down plus 1. What times x will give us negative 3x? That's negative 3. So we have negative 3 times x minus 1. We get negative 3x plus 3. Negative 3x plus 3. Now we have to subtract it. So this becomes positive, this becomes negative, and we end up with, looks like a remainder of negative 2. So our remainder is negative 2, which means our answer then, because we're going to write it as a fraction, is going to be negative 3x squared minus 5x minus 3 plus negative 2 over x minus 1. I know, lots of fun, huh? We're going to go ahead and do number 2. Notice that these are the problems that are coming from the guided notes. We're going to go ahead and do number 2 and number 3. It asks us for synthetic division, but we are going to use this new method of long division. Let me make some room right here. Let's see. So we've got x plus 2, and we're going to put that into 3x to the 4th plus x squared minus 3x plus 3. This one was already in descending order, but I'm noticing a problem right here, and I'm not really sure how to describe this problem other than saying we're missing a term. We're missing the cube term, and we can't do division if we're missing a term. So we have to add one in there. So this is 3x to the 4th plus 0x cubed plus x squared minus 3x plus 3. Now we have the 4th degree, 3rd degree, 2nd degree, 1st degree, and a 3rd degree. Important first step. So now we have to figure out what do we multiply x by in order to get 3x to the 4th. That's going to be 3x to the 3rd, and I put the 3rd degree over the 3rd degree term. Then we multiply it through. If you want to do a little side work, that's totally acceptable. 3x cubed times x plus 2, we have to distribute, and we get 3x to the 4th plus 6x cubed, and we write it directly underneath. Then we have to subtract. So this is going to be negative 3x to the 4th, and that's going to be negative 6x cubed. That goes away by design. We have 0 minus 6, we get negative 6x cubed. Then we bring down. Then we multiply x times something to get negative 6x cubed. That's going to be negative 6x squared. Notice the squared term goes above the squared term. Then we multiply. Little bat cave. We have negative 6x squared times x plus 2. Negative 6x cubed plus minus 12x squared, negative 6x cubed minus 12x squared, and then we have to subtract. So this becomes positive, and this becomes positive, and then we combine like terms. That goes away, and now we have 13x squared. Make sure you're pausing this if I'm going too fast. We're going to go ahead and bring down the negative 3x and start over. X times what is 13x squared? That is 13x. Then we multiply, so we get 13x squared, and then we get 26x. And then we subtract. That one's going to go away. That one's going to become negative, which just gives us negative 29x. Lots of fun. Then we bring down the 3. Last one, x times what is negative 29x? That's negative 29, negative 29x. 29 times 2, let's see, that's 60, minus 2 is 58, so minus 58. And then we're going to subtract, so both of those are positive. So we get 58 plus 3 is 61. This is my remainder. Let me pause to get the phone. That was an exciting phone call. My son just got hired for CAL FIRE. Okay, so let's see. So our remainder was 61, so our answer then is going to be 3x cubed minus 6x squared plus 13x minus 29 plus 61 over x plus 2. This is our quotient. All right, let's try the third one. This third one has a 2x in it for the divisor. 2x minus 1. And we want to divide that into 2x cubed plus x squared minus 13x plus 6. We double check that we have all our terms, 3, 2, 1, 0, and then we begin. Instead of finding out what x times what goes to 2x cubed, we need to multiply 2x into 2x cubed. So what multiplies 2x in order to get 2x cubed? That's going to be, actually I don't need the 2. That's just going to be x squared, and then we multiply that through. 2x times x squared is 2x cubed, and then we multiply that by negative 1. We get negative x squared, and then we subtract, which means we change the signs. We end up with 2x squared. I'm going to go ahead and let you finish this one. See if you can get the right answer. You should pause it right now. Alright, so I ended up with, here I rewrote this problem slightly different, 2x cubed plus x squared minus 13x plus 6 divided by 2x minus 1. And when I worked all that out, being very careful with your signs, that's probably going to be the biggest hurdle, is keeping track that your signs are correct. The answer is x squared plus 6 minus 6. No, x squared plus x minus 6. And the remainder was 0, so notice that I don't have a plus anything after that negative 6. From here, we're going to move back to the guided notes. We just did the first 3 problems on the first page. We just didn't use synthetic division, and I'm not going to show it to you just yet. I think it's worth you suffering through the hard way. So find your packet and let's get started on the rest of it. Alright, next page, page 176. So this activity is designed to show you what the remainder theorem of algebra is without me just giving you the answer. It's kind of nice to find the pattern. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to find the value of p of 1. So we're going to plug 1 in for all those x's, which is 1 plus 2 minus 1 minus 3. And we get p of 1 is equal to negative 1. So our divisor is going to be x minus 1. And I'm going to just do one thing. I'm going to set this equal to 0. Just because. So now we're going to go ahead and do x minus 1 divided into the whole thing. X cubed plus 2x squared minus x minus 3. We have all our terms, and we're going to do the long division right here. I'm going to pause this and do the problem. So you should pause this and do the problem as well, and then check your answer. So I went ahead and ran out of room in that box. It's a good reason to have some scratch paper. I ended up with the remainder of remainder of negative 1. So when we plugged in x equals 1 into p of x, we got negative 1. When we divided it by x minus 1, we got a remainder of negative 1. So let's try the next one. So please find p of 2. 2 times 2 squared cubed minus 2 minus 3. This, of course, if this is equal to 0, we know x is equal to 2. And then we're going to do the long division in this box over here. And that's going to be x minus 2 divided into 2x cubed. Notice there's no x squared, so we put up placeholder minus x minus 3. All right, find those two values. So pause this video now and you can check your answers. All right, I ended up with p of 2 equaling 11 when x equals 2. And when we take that whole thing and divide it by x minus 2, I got a remainder of 11. I'm going to go ahead and let you do the next 3, and you can check your answers at the end, and then we'll compare notes. So pause it now. All right, so hopefully you got the same answers I got. I had to erase some of it so it would fit, so you can't follow all of my work, but you can see most of it. Hopefully you're noticing what I'm noticing, or at least what this was designed for you to notice, that every time you plug in a number into the function and get out something, when you divide it by x minus that number, you end up with the same exact number. So I guess this is how they say it. The relationship between the remainder when a polynomial p of x is divided by a linear binomial x minus a and the value of the function p of a. What is the relationship? Put in words for you. P of a is equal to the remainder when p of x is divided by x minus a. As you can see that we've only covered, the first 2 pages of this lesson, that this is going to be a really long video. So I think you guys need some time to absorb long division and the remainder theorem. And we'll get some practice of that in class, and then we will discuss the rest of this lesson after we've had a little bit more time with this. All right, I will see you soon. Bye.